You think you can't grow food because you live in an apartment with a 30-square-foot balcony? Meanwhile, a Vietnamese urban farmer produces 300 pounds of vegetables annually from a 40-square-foot balcony garden. That's enough food to feed a family of 4 their daily vegetables. Here's how they do it. Vertical layering. Western gardeners plant at one height and waste everything above and below. Asian farmers stack crops vertically. Root vegetables grow underground. Lettuce occupies ground level. Peppers fill the middle zone at 2 feet. Pole beans climb to 6 feet on trellises. 4 crops occupy the same square foot of ground space because each captures different resource zones. You're not competing for space. You're stacking production like floors in a building. Container stacking. You're thinking ground space determines garden size. Wrong. Asian balcony farmers stack containers vertically in tiers. The bottom tier holds root crops in deep containers. Middle tier has leafy greens in shallow trays. The top tier supports herbs and trailing plants that cascade down. Wall-mounted fabric pockets add another layer on vertical surfaces. A 40-square-foot balcony becomes 120 square feet of growing area when you count vertical surfaces and stacked tiers. Vietnamese urban farmers hang containers from railings, mount shelves on walls, and suspend baskets from overhead structures. Every vertical inch becomes productive space instead of wasted air. Year-round succession. Western gardens produce 4 to 6 months, then sit empty. Asian farmers rotate cool season and warm season crops for 12-month production. Plant lettuce and radishes in March. Harvest in May. Replace with tomatoes and peppers for summer production. Replant lettuce and carrots in September for fall harvest. In mild climates, greens overwinter and produce through January. You're maintaining continuous photosynthesis year-round. The soil never goes dormant. Biology stays active. 1 square foot producing 12 months instead of 4 equals triple the annual yield from identical space without expanding the footprint. Intensive intercropping. You plant 1 crop per bed because that's what seed packets show. Asian farmers plant 3 to 5 crops in the same bed simultaneously. Corn grows tall at 3 feet spacing. Beans climb the corn stalks. Squash sprawls at ground level between corn plants. Radishes fill gaps in the first month before corn shades them out. 4 crops from the same square footage where Western gardeners grow 1. The mechanism is resource partitioning. Corn has shallow roots in the top 6 inches. Beans fix nitrogen at 8 inches depth. Squash sends roots 12 inches deep. They're not competing. They're occupying different soil zones while their canopies capture sunlight at different heights throughout the day. Aquaponics integration. Western gardening separates fish and vegetables into different systems. Asian farmers integrate them. Fish live in tanks or small ponds. Their waste-rich water flows through grow beds where plant roots absorb nutrients. Plants filter the water clean. Clean water returns to fish. You're producing protein and vegetables from the same water in a closed loop. A 50-gallon tank holds 20 tilapia. Those fish produce enough waste to fertilize 20 square feet of vegetables. Harvest fish every 4 months while harvesting vegetables continuously. The system uses 90% less water than soil gardening because water recirculates instead of evaporating. Setup cost is $200 to $300 for tanks, pump, and grow beds. After that, inputs are fish food and electricity for the pump. No fertilizer needed because fish waste provides all nutrients. Living trellis systems. You're buying metal trellises that cost $20 to $40 and rust out in 3 years. Asian farmers plant living trellises that cost pennies and seeds. Sunflowers grow 8 feet tall with strong stalks. Plant beans at the base. They climb the sunflower stalks as living supports. Corn works similarly. Plant pole beans when corn reaches 1 foot tall. The beans climb corn stalks and fix nitrogen that feeds the corn. When harvest ends, one chop everything and compost in place. No metal to store or replace. Bamboo is the traditional Asian trellis material. Plant running bamboo in containers to prevent spreading. Harvest poles annually for free renewable trellising. A $50 bamboo investment provides trellises forever because new shoots replace harvested poles every spring. Build A-frame structures from bamboo. They support 200 pounds of cucumbers or beans per frame, while occupying 2 square feet of ground space. Fermented natural fertilizers. Western gardeners spend $80 to $150 annually on bagged fertilizers. Asian farmers make fertilizers from weeds and kitchen scraps for pennies. Korean natural farming uses fermented plant juice. Chop fast-growing weeds like comfrey or nettles. Pack them in a jar with brown sugar at equal weight. Fermentation extracts nutrients into liquid form over 7 days. Dilute 1 part juice to 500 parts water. Spray on leaves or drench soil. The fermented sugars and plant hormones boost growth faster than synthetic fertilizers without the salt buildup that kills soil biology. Fish amino acids work similarly. Ferment fish scraps with brown sugar for 3 months. The result is concentrated protein fertilizer. Dilute 1 to 1,000 and apply weekly. Indigenous microorganisms cultivated from forest soil provide beneficial bacteria and fungi. Mix cooked rice with forest soil. The microbes colonize the rice. Mix that with brown sugar and water to multiply populations. Apply to garden soil to boost biology. Total annual cost for these inputs is $10 to $20 compared to $100+ for commercial fertilizers. Shade management. You think vegetables need full sun all day? That's true for some crops, but Asian farmers use shade strategically to extend seasons and grow heat-sensitive crops in summer. Shade cloth reduces temperature by 10 to 15 degrees under the fabric. Plant lettuce and spinach under 50% shade cloth in June. They produce through summer instead of bolting in full sun. The cloth also reduces water needs by cutting evaporation. Tall crops create living shade for shorter companions. Plant heat-loving peppers and eggplant on the south side of beds. They cast afternoon shade on lettuce and greens planted north of them. Morning sun hits everything. Afternoon heat is filtered through pepper foliage. Thai farmers grow vegetables under coconut palms and banana plants using this multi-story canopy principle. The overstory provides dappled shade that moderates temperature extremes, while still allowing enough light for production. In cold climates, clear plastic covers create mini greenhouses that extend the season 4 to 6 weeks on both ends. A simple hoop frame with plastic sheeting costs $20 and adds 3 months of production annually. Deep dig intensive beds. Western gardens have compacted soil from walking on beds and shallow tilling that creates hardpan at 6 inches depth. Asian intensive farmers build permanent beds using the Chinese deep dig method. Mark beds 4 feet wide. Remove soil from the first 12 inches and set aside. Loosen soil in the bottom 12 inches with a fork without removing it. This breaks up compaction and creates drainage channels. Mix compost into the loosened bottom layer. Return the top 12 inches of soil mixed with more compost. The result is 24 inches of loose, fertile soil that roots penetrate easily. Plant roots go deep instead of spreading horizontally. Deep roots access water and nutrients. Shallow roots can't reach. This means less frequent watering and better drought tolerance. The beds are permanent, never walk on them. Access from both sides using the arm's reach principle. Soil structure improves every year instead of degrading from annual tilling. Earthworm populations explode because you're not slicing them during tillage. Fungal networks develop and transport nutrients between plants. After the initial labor of double digging, maintenance is minimal. Add 2 to 4 inches of compost to the surface annually. The worms and biology incorporate it without you disturbing the structure. Edible landscaping. Your front yard is probably lawn grass. That's 40 to 60% of typical suburban lot size, producing zero food while consuming water, fertilizer, and weekly mowing time. Asian farmers integrate food production into ornamental landscapes. Vietnamese gardens mix vegetables with flowers. Kale and chard provide colorful foliage. Scarlet runner beans have red flowers and edible pods. Nasturtiums bloom while producing edible leaves and flowers. The front yard looks beautiful to neighbors while feeding your family. Plant dwarf fruit trees as landscape focal points instead of ornamental trees. A $30 apple tree provides 100 pounds of fruit annually while looking attractive. Berry bushes replace ornamental shrubs along foundations. Blueberries have attractive foliage and fall color. Raspberries and blackberries produce fruit while filling vertical space. Herb borders replace annual flower beds. Basil, cilantro, and parsley look as good as petunias while serving culinary purposes. You're converting wasted ornamental space into production without fighting HOA rules because the landscape still looks intentional and attractive. The key is mixing food plants with ornamentals so the overall effect reads as a designed landscape rather than vegetable farm. This adds 200 to 400 square feet of productive space in typical suburban yards without losing aesthetic appeal. Microorganism cultivation. Western gardens depend on buying beneficial bacteria in expensive bottles from garden centers. $30 for a small container of mycorrhizae, $25 for compost tea brewers. Asian farmers cultivate indigenous microorganisms from their local environment for free using Korean natural farming methods. Here's how it works. Cook white rice until sticky. Place 1 cup of cooked rice in a wooden box with ventilation holes. Now bury the box halfway in undisturbed forest soil under leaf litter. The native bacteria and fungi colonize the rice over 3 to 7 days. You'll see white fuzzy growth covering the rice. That's your microbial starter culture containing the exact organisms adapted to your local climate and soil conditions. Mix the colonized rice with 10 parts brown sugar by weight. Store in a jar. The sugar preserves the microbes and multiplies their populations. This is your IMO concentrate. You dilute 1 part, concentrate with 1,000 parts water. Spray on soil, compost piles, or plant leaves. The microorganisms establish in your garden and create the same biological activity found in healthy forest soil. They decompose organic matter faster than chemical fertilizers can supply nutrients. They form symbiotic relationships with plant roots, extending nutrient reach 100 times beyond root hair length. 1 batch of IMO concentrate costs $2 in rice and sugar. It treats your entire garden for a full season. Compare that to $150 annually for synthetic fertilizers that kill the biology you're trying to establish. Continuous harvest design. You're probably harvesting in big flushes followed by nothing. All your tomatoes ripen in August. All your lettuce bolts in June. Your garden produces feast or famine instead of steady supply. Asian farmers design for continuous daily harvests, using staggered planting dates and regrowth crops. Plant lettuce every 2 weeks in small sections instead of 1 large planting. When the first section matures in 4 weeks, you're harvesting while the second planting is 2 weeks from maturity, and the third is just sprouting. You have perpetual salad greens instead of 30 heads ripening simultaneously. The same principle applies to radishes, beans, carrots, and any fast-maturing crop. Stagger plantings by 7 to 14 days depending on crop speed. Combine this with cut and come-again varieties that regrow after harvest. Mizuna, Komatsuna, and Asian mustard greens produce 4 to 6 cuttings from 1 planting. Harvest outer leaves. The crown regrows within 10 days. You harvest again. Perennial vegetables eliminate replanting entirely. Asian bunching onions regrow from roots after cutting. 1 planting provides scallions for 2 to 3 years. Garlic chives regrow continuously. Egyptian walking onions multiply while producing bulbs and greens. Vietnamese coriander is perennial in warm climates. It's producing cilantro-flavored leaves year-round without bolting. Design your garden so something reaches the harvest stage every 3 to 4 days throughout the growing season. You're picking daily in small amounts instead of processing 50 pounds of tomatoes in 1 overwhelming week. The work spreads evenly and nothing goes to waste because you harvest quantities your family actually consumes before food spoils. Start with vertical container stacking because it works in any space and requires minimal investment. Buy 5 to 10 containers in different sizes. Stack them in tiers on your balcony, patio, or against a south-facing wall. Plant quick crops like lettuce and radishes in shallow containers. Use deep containers for tomatoes and peppers. Add a simple trellis for beans or cucumbers. That first season proves the concept. You'll harvest 50 to 100 pounds of vegetables from 30 square feet. Next season, add intercropping. Plant beans with your tomatoes. Add basil and lettuce around pepper plants. Test companion combinations and learn what grows well in your specific conditions. Year 3, incorporate 1 advanced technique. Build a small aquaponics system or start making fermented fertilizers. Add shade cloth for season extension. Each year, you're stacking another layer of productivity without expanding the physical footprint. Yes, source materials from home improvement stores for containers and soil. Asian grocery stores sell appropriate seeds. Online retailers like Kitazawa Seed Company specialize in Asian vegetable varieties bred for small space production. Your first month 5 years ago, I started with 8 containers on a 50 square foot apartment balcony. First season produced 70 pounds of vegetables. That balcony now produces 220 pounds annually using vertical stacking, succession planting, and intercropping. Same 50 square feet, 4 times the production because I'm capturing vertical space and rotating crops year-round. Week 1, buy containers and set up your first vertical tier. Week 2, plant fast crops like radishes and lettuce for quick wins. Week 3, add slower crops like tomatoes and peppers. Week 4, install a trellis and plant beans or cucumbers. You're 1 month away from harvesting your first vegetables. 1 growing season away from proving you can produce serious food from minimal space. Start this week.